The UAB Blazers look to rebound off a disappointing home opening loss in their first midweek game of the season on Wednesday against West Georgia, but they'll have a tall task in front of them against the top-ranked team in the country in the Tennessee Volunteers. It's top-ranked Tennessee and the UAB Blazers from Mary Bowers Field in Birmingham on this Friday night. A happy game day. James Hardy with you along with A.J. Doherty. And A.J., it's a showcase night for the UAB softball program against one of the top programs in the country.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better than this. You're getting to host the number one team in the country on your field in front of a packed crowd under the lights at beautiful Mary Bowers.
And this is a Tennessee squad that has already been through the test through their first 2 weeks of the season down in Clearwater as we take a look at our game notes for today. And A.J., Tennessee has already faced 6 top 25 opponents so far this year.
Yeah, no slouch of a schedule coming off a big-time schedule down at Clearwater, outscoring opponents 43-2 down there. Despite some early concerns about being a little bit young offensively, really tuned it up this weekend in Clearwater.
Already positioning themselves very well for May. And for UAB, they're just looking to get on the right track after losing 3 of their last 5.
Yeah, a little bit of a heartbreaker midweek, but hey, so what, now what? You get the number one team in the country on your field under the lights in Birmingham, and it's a great opportunity for the Blazers tonight.
Mary Bowers Field is packed for tonight's matchup. Top-ranked Tennessee and UAB coming up next. Game time conditions for today in the mid-60s. A little warmer than usual for a mid-February, even in the deep south. Low humidity and a light wind. Basically, AJ, perfect weather conditions for tonight.
Oh yeah, if you're a player, this is exactly why you come to a place like UAB to get this opportunity.
And someone that's taken advantage of their opportunity this season, Olivia Cummings, has very much improved so far early on as far as the control issues that she's had the last couple of years. So far, just 4 walks compared to 16 strikeouts.
Yeah, she's going to look to establish the zone and keep these hitters off balance with her off-speed pitches.
And we are just about ready to get this underway as the first pitch foul ball makes it no balls and 1 strike on Sophia Knight. There you take a look at the junior left-handed batter, the center fielder at .472 already on the season, 17 hits out of 36 at-bats. A powerful lineup and also really one of the top teams overall, of course, with what they've been able to show in not only going 11-0 so far, but dominating the opponents that they've faced so far.
I thought that first swing from her says a lot, being aggressive at the plate despite being the leadoff hitter of the game.
Down and in, 2 balls and 1 strike.
A lot of leadoff hitters like to see a lot of pitches, so she must have really liked that, and there must be a game plan here tonight to, take some swings.
Tennessee was able to take a 5-0 win against Missouri State earlier this evening. Bouncer over to Hannah Dorsett. Quick field and throw in time, and that's a good start for Olivia Cummings. 1 batter, 1 down.
Yeah, that's a big out. The first batter of the game, number one team in the country in your house, and to be able to produce an out on the first one, that's a big deal. Good job right there, Olivia Cummings.
Of course, this is the Green and Gold Classic, the first game of 4 this weekend for UAB, and this is the second of 4 for Tennessee this weekend. Gabby Leach, the junior, also a lefty batter. She takes 4, ball 1. And there you see her numbers on the season. 12 out of 29 from the plate coming in to this ball game. Strike called. This is the first ever meeting for Tennessee at UAB in their program's history. Now these two teams have squared off 3 prior times, the most recent coming in 2016 up in Knoxville. 1-1, that comes in, and Tennessee will have an early base runner as Gabby Leach is aboard with a hit by pitch.
Yeah, you really don't want to give up free bases. They're good enough offensively as it is, and when you give them free outs to work with, you're asking for trouble from an offense like this that's produced a lot of runs. As we mentioned in the open, they scored 43 runs and allowed 2 this past weekend in Clearwater, and we've already talked about the schedule they played. So Olivia Cummings had done a pretty good job of getting ahead in the count but she's got to finish and execute those pitches, like right there.
Another lefty batter, Ella Dodge, who's been one of the best sluggers so far early on in the SEC, a strike called. She had a homer earlier today against Missouri State, so now there you see her home run totals coming into the weekend. Add the homer against Missouri State, and now up to 3 on the season. Downstairs, and so evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Already a great start for Tennessee coming into this game at 11-0, and you look at the competition that they face, especially in Clearwater, you couldn't ask for a better start than they've gotten on through the...
No, and I think they've quickly gone, everyone thought was going to be solid, to a World Series type contender, maybe a national championship type contender. And so, I'm really grateful to be here tonight to get to see this in person, because this is an opportunity, for UAB, I think, to just measure themselves against that.
1 ball and 2 strikes on Dodge. On the inside corner, called strike 3.
That's huge. Olivia Cummings is going to have to work ahead tonight, establish the strike zone, and when she works ahead, she'll be able to use her off-speed pitches to fool them.
We'll take another look at that strikeout for Cummings, and a little bit above the belt, but well placed on that inside corner. So that's strikeout number 1 for Cummings, and her 17th on the season in just a little over 30. Down and away, cleanup batter Emma Clark, the first baseman. Already a promising start for Cummings, as she's 1 out away from working a scoreless first.
Yes, I like it so far. She's pretty much been ahead in the count, little behind here, but done a pretty good job so far.
A pitch down and away, and you got to figure, AJ, especially for UAB, with having the top-ranked program in your ballpark, you got to imagine for the players, for the coaches, it's an extremely exciting night for them.
Yeah, this is going to be just a different level of enthusiasm and an opportunity here.
Swing and a miss, off-speed pitch. Still a hitter's count for Clark at 2 balls and 1 strike. Tennessee with the shutout against Missouri State. 7 shutouts for them in their 11 wins this season, as they look to make it number 12 by the end of this night. There's a strike call. UAB looking to even their record as they come in at 5-6 overall in the season. Right now, Cummings wants 1 more strike to get out of the inning. 2-2. Foul back to the screen. UAB just 1 game. That's tonight against the Vols, and then they'll have a couple of games tomorrow against Missouri State and Southern Illinois before closing out the Green and Gold Classic Sunday afternoon against Mercer. Line down the right field line, slices, and about a couple feet foul. Hit well by Clark as she went the opposite way with the outside pitch, as we'll take another look at that near miss for Clark.
Yeah, just continued to slice away. Fortunately for the Blazers, that could have been a lot of trouble. She's probably going to score from first on that, but got a break there and, reset it at 2-2.
And then you not only add, we were mentioning as far as just the excitement for UAB's players and coaches tonight, but to be able to play in front of a packed house.
Yeah, this is unbelievable. I mean, I don't see many seats open at all. There's plenty of green, plenty of orange too, but plenty of green, and everybody's jazzed up to see the number 1 team in the country, and the hometown fans to see the Blazers, go up against them and see what we've got.
And really not that far away from Birmingham is Knoxville, Tennessee, so not that far of a trip for a lot of the Tennessee fans.
That's right. That's right. And in North Alabama, you have a good collection of those anyway.
That's exactly right. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Ground ball and into the glove of Carly Wilkins. She'll tag first base to retire the side. Nothing doing for Tennessee as they leave a runner stranded as we go to the bottom of the first inning. UAB, their first at bat here at Mary Bowers Field. This evening in Carlin Pickens, the senior right-hander out of Weaverville, North Carolina. as we take a look at some of her early season numbers, and already about as perfect a start as you can get. A little high on the walks with 12, 31 strikeouts, however, so that's a great strikeout to walk ratio, and of course you can't do any better than a big fat goose egg in the ERA total.
Widely regarded as one of the best pitchers in the game, on the books as the hardest velocity ever thrown in fast pitch softball. And I think the thing that they've got going for them this season is they've been able to find some depth in their staff to hopefully keep her fresh all the way throughout the season.
24 in the third innings pitched coming into tonight as a swing and a miss for Hannah Dorsett.
Hannah Dorsett is the spark plug of this offense. She's going to have a good night tonight to give UAB a chance. I talked a little bit with Coach Smart about their approach tonight offensively, and I'll talk about that in a second.
A swing and a miss, and talk about that offensive approach you expect to see.
Yeah, so Coach Smart said that they plan to swing the bat as many swings as they can get off tonight. They've previously been taking too many pitches in her and her staff's eyes and getting behind in counts.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night for Dorsett as she goes down swinging one down.
So, you know, Coach Smart's words were, we want to get their swings off, and even if we don't take a stride.
We'll take another look at that strikeout, and Pickens just goes right after Dorsett to get the K.
Yeah, that's just straight gas. Dorsett and the Blazers just going to have to get their foot down early and be on time.
Charlie Bennett, an impressive freshman for UAB, already at .333 this season, falls behind in the count. No homers and 7 RBIs, as there you see her numbers so far coming in. Upstairs, a disappointing loss for UAB to open their home schedule against West Georgia as they went 11 innings on Wednesday night. Came back from a 4-1 deficit late in regulation. Had a couple of chances to win in extra innings, but just couldn't get that go-ahead run across. Hitters count now for Charlie Bennett. Has already had a 3-hit game so far this year against Western Michigan down in the Mardi Gras Classic this past weekend.
How about a hometown freshman getting a start against the #1 team in the country?
More for someone, especially that's a true freshman, as you mentioned, going up against one of college softball's best teams and the top-ranked team in the country. 3-1 as a strike call. And UAB, this is the first SEC team among 5 of those that they'll be playing this season. Of course, Alabama also will be coming here to Mary Bowers Field in April. Off the bat handle, and that's out of play. Mississippi State comes in about a week and a half to open up the home schedule for March. And then UAB next weekend, they'll be in Columbia, South Carolina. They'll play South Carolina for one of their 5 games next weekend. Slow roller, fall, fields, and throws in time.
Well, I'll say this, so far, I mean, the Blazers have not been on time yet, but that may come as the game goes along. She's obviously throwing with high velocity, but you have noticed the game plan from Coach Smart, just as she said. They're swinging the bat. They're not taking a lot of pitches. Dorsett swung the bat. Charlie Bennett putting it in play there. So far executing their game plan. They just got to get on time.
Another newcomer, Abby Perkins, takes a strike call.
Easier said than done, but
there you see her numbers on the season. Started at designated player against West Georgia Wednesday. Behind the plate tonight for UAB. Perkins falls behind in the count quickly, no balls and 2 strikes. So Pickens looking for a 1-2-3 inning to get her night started. Swing and a miss on the rise ball. So a couple of strikeouts for Pickens. A great start for her as both teams go scoreless in their first at-bats. As we'll take a look at the final strikeout of the inning on Abby Perkins. As we go to the second inning, neither team on the board here in Birmingham. As you take a look at second-year head coach Taylor Smart for UAB, took over last season after she was an assistant down at FAU. Also spent some time as not only an assistant but the interim head at Troy University. Most recently
conversation with Coach Smart. She talked about the team playing with zero fear, just competing. She looks pretty loosey-goosey over there in the dugout.
And you got to imagine for UAB against a top-ranked team in the country, especially in your home field, you got to feel like there's nothing to lose out there.
Oh, yeah.
Let everything hang out there.
And that's exactly what she said. She said, you know, the goal tonight is to play with zero fear, go compete, have the time of your life, play in the game that you all love to play in a packed house.
Mackenzie Butt bounces one over to Dorsett. The throw on the run in time, one down.
That's good feet by Dorsett, taking a good angle, getting a deep enough angle, and then having the athletic ability to throw on the run. She is a fantastic athlete.
Alana Leach, the left fielder, her first at bat. So far, 6 out of 14. There you see some of her numbers, including a couple of long balls. There's a strike call.
Talking to Coach Smart pregame about pitching, she talked about this team not chasing out of the zone much. They had seen that on film, and so not trying to pitch around them, going at them and throwing strikes.
There's a bouncer off of Cummings. Recovers, glove flips in time. Good presence of mind that time by Olivia Cummings. Does not panic on the play and gets the out at first.
Yeah, gets a hot potato right back at her, able to knock it down, and knows she doesn't have time to go back to her throwing hand and just the glove flip. That's quality PFP, as they call it.
Let's take another look off of Cummings initially. No worries, though. Flips with the glove and gets out number 2. Nobody on base. Elsa Morrison, 11 games played and 10 starts for Tennessee. A strike call, and I've been very impressed with what we've seen so far early on for Olivia Cummings in the circle.
Yeah, you know, one of the things Coach Smart wanted to remind her pitchers tonight is that good pitches will beat good swings 7 times out of 10. Even the better batting averages get beat by good pitches 7 times out of 10.
There's a one-hop grounder over to Dorsett. Easy throw to first base. 1-2-3 goes Tennessee in the second inning. So we go to the bottom of the second inning. It's still no score as UAB will come to bat with the middle of their order from a packed Mary Bowers Field in the Magic City. And the best conference in the country for college softball. You look at one of the main figures as far as that's helped the SEC to earn the reputation they've had, and one of those is Coach Karen Weekly for Tennessee. Her 5th year as the solo head coach, but of course the Weekly family long known for excellence when it comes to college softball up in Knoxville.
Yeah, they're a staple of our sport. She's a 4-time SEC Coach of the Year, has done it at a high level for a really long time, and so excited to see her in Birmingham tonight with her #1 team.
I mean, when you talk about Tim Walton down at Florida, Karen Weekly at Tennessee, and Patrick Murphy, of course, just down the road in Tuscaloosa, 3 of the coaching figures that have helped make the Southeastern Conference what it is today.
And they've all visited Mary Bowers in the last couple of years, and that's a big deal. Coach Weekly has been a part of 40 wins 22 times in her coaching career.
I mean, you look at just the year-by-year breakdown for Tennessee under her, and there's not, you've mentioned, not a lot of seasons. They have not at least gotten really to 45 wins in the season. In fact, they just made the Women's College World Series last year as there's a bouncer for Shira over to third as Rutan throws across the diamond in time.
Got it a little bit on the handle, but I think what you're seeing is slowly but surely the Blazers are getting better contact. They're getting more and more on time.
We'll take a look at another look. Nice short hop stab over at third. Not necessarily the easiest of ground balls to field, but made it look easy there over at the hot corner. Carly Wilkins, much more playing time so far this year, but she comes up empty. Had 2 hits and 2 RBIs Wednesday against West Georgia. By far the most productive hitter UAB had this past Wednesday.
Has battled back from some injuries. So proud to see her out here doing her thing.
And someone that didn't necessarily get the playing time she wanted the last couple of years, but is more than taking advantage of the opportunities this year. No balls and 2 strikes on Wilkins. Swing and a miss, and strikeout number 3 for Pickens. Quickly 2 down. We'll take another look at that strikeout. As Pickens now up to a trio of strikeouts. Nobody on base as Madeline Flamia to the plate, the third baseman. Another newcomer for the green and gold in 2026 as time called at the plate.
Yeah, we called her Flame when we were recruiting her. I think that's what the team pretty much calls her, from a very well-established high school program and travel ball program.
Off into the bat and fouls. So no balls and one strike. What really impressed you about her as far as what you saw on the recruiting trail?
Consistency, competitiveness. I know you've probably seen it already. We have at third base. Stepping in as a freshman, you would never know it the way she plays third base.
No balls and one strike. And taken downstairs in a lot of ways for UAB at that third base spot. Still really trying to find that true replacement for Lindsey Smith.
No doubt. Lindsey held that corner down for a long time and did it at a high level. And, you know, we hope she's doing well. I'm sure she is, but sure miss her over there at third base.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Someone that was very reliable. You knew what you could get, especially as far as defensive production over at that. Pickens looking for 3 inning and gets it with another strikeout. So Pickens on fire out in the circle. 4 strikeouts through her first 2 innings, and it's not allowed a base runner for UAB. As there you see that drop ball that gets Flamia on strikes. We go to the 3rd inning through 2. No score between Tennessee and UAB. For Tennessee football coming to play Alabama at Legion Field on the 3rd Saturday in October. This would have been basically the welcome mat for their entrance into the Magic City for a 3rd Saturday in October in yesteryear.
There may be a few Vols that have seen that before here tonight.
Probably a ton of them.
Maybe. Hey, one thing I'm really impressed with Olivia Cummings, not a ball's left the infield. We've recorded 6 outs and a ball hasn't left the infield. I don't mean to jinx her, but that's pretty impressive against this offense.
And this is an offense that already got a couple of home runs so far this weekend against Missouri State. As ahead in the count is Maddie Rutan as we take a look at her numbers, already with a homer on the season. 10 games and 9 starts for her. As she gets ahead in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. A hit batter, but otherwise a strikeout so far for Cummings in her first 2 innings. So far, we've flown by through the first 2 at-bats for both teams, as that's off the bat handle. Pretty good pitch that time for a 2-0 pitch for Cummings, a foul ball.
She's done a really good job so far of getting ahead in the count or not getting too deep behind in the count, but then also being able to mix her off speed, and that's what makes her so effective. She doesn't have the velocity of a Pickens, but if she hits her spots and she can throw her off speed for a strike, she's trouble for hitters, and that funky left-handed delivery, is a big advantage to her.
Bouncer over to Hannah Dorsett. Convenient hop on a Friday, and the toss over in time. Hannah Dorsett awfully busy so far tonight, as she has now recorded 4 infield assists so far.
Yeah, Hannah Dorsett she's one of those quality softball players. She's just sort of steady Eddie on the defensive side. No big on.
The order for Bella Faw. And taken downstairs. You mentioned at the top, AJ, that this Tennessee team not expected to do as well as so far that they've done because of how young they are. Actually looking at the starting lineup, other than Carlin Pickens, no seniors among the position players in the starting lineup tonight. Another opportunity for Dorsett as she throws over to first base. And right now showcasing her defensive ability, so far flawless, 2 down.
Again, you're going to see on this replay here, it's all about her first step and getting that depth. You'll see her take that angle towards the center field, right center field. That makes her able to cut it off, stand up. She's got enough arm to get it there. Super play right there.
I'm not sure the game plan was to try and test Maddie Dorsett as far as Tennessee's offense, but Maddie Dorsett ready for the challenge so far as we're back to the top of the order in Sophia Knight, who has grounded out to Dorsett and to begin the ball game. 1 ball and no strikes.
It's going to be key to keep her off the bases tonight. She's 8 for 9 in stolen bases already in just 11 games, or 12 if you count earlier today.
1-0 pitch, offered at and pulled back at the last second, but still a strike. So there you take a look at the infield alignment as Olivia Cummings trying to cap off what would be another 1-2-3 inning. Sprayed out of play over the third base dugout.
See, this is where Olivia Cummings needs to live, especially against the top of this order. She's ahead 1-2. She has enough tools in her toolbox here. They have to keep guessing as to what's coming, and that keeps their timing off.
Flamia inside the bag at third. Hit left side and foul. Tennessee Volunteers looking to go 2-0 on the day as they shut out Missouri State 5-0. 11-0 coming into this ball game. They have yet to play a home game so far in the month. One, two. A drop ball in the dirt. Now, after this weekend, it will be home sweet home for the Big Orange as they'll take on Appalachian State and Penn State, along with North Carolina Central coming up next weekend. 2-2. Bouncer up the middle. Nice play by Bennett, but the throw is just not in time.
Yeah, nice job. Cummings tried to flag it down, didn't quite get enough of it. Tough spot there for Bennett to have to range to her right, her momentum falling towards center field, and then try to make that throw, but a heck of an effort.
Yeah, great effort, a tough hop, and Knight just too much speed as she keeps the inning alive with Tennessee's first base hit. Gabby Leach hit by a pitch in the first. Cummings comes home. And downstairs. I gotta imagine we talked about how exciting for UAB tonight is playing against the top-ranked team in college softball. Imagine having a packed house. Pretty exciting for Tennessee as far as just the energy in the building for them to play in.
Yeah, no doubt. And probably some fans here that don't get to see Tennessee all that much.
Swing and a miss, and as you know very well, a big reason why Coach Patrick Murphy down in Tuscaloosa brings his Alabama Crimson Tide up to Birmingham, whether to UAB or to Sanford every year, to get some of the Alabama alums that live around the Birmingham area a chance to see the softball program.
Absolutely.
1-1, fouled off. And really for Tennessee too, because Birmingham is a hotbed as football recruiting. This is a pretty good trip as far as the program when it comes to at least exposing the program to some recruits in this part of the country.
Yeah, softball is extremely popular in Alabama, so you're no doubt getting exposure for your program.
There's a tapper, tough play for Dorsett, and wisely eats the softball as Gabby Leach reaches on an infield single. So a couple of infield singles have helped keep the inning going for Tennessee. Trying to get on top as Ella Dodge, a strikeout victim back in the first inning. Dodge homered earlier today against Missouri State. Has started and played in every game as she launches this one into right, out of here to get Tennessee on the board.
Yeah, Dodge didn't miss that one. That's according to my stats, the 4th home run of the season for her. She was ready for that one. She got a good inside pitch. She turned on it, was able to get the barrel on it. You know, just a miss by Olivia Cummings. So what now what if you're the Blazers?
So indeed, 2 outs, so what for Tennessee, as there you see those hands extend and Dodge crushed that one into the right field parking lot.
Yeah, did a really good job getting her hands inside of that pitch and staying through that pitch. You know, that's a big-time swing right there from a big-time offense. See if Olivia Cummings can settle back in, go back to doing what she was doing.
That's what highly ranked programs do, though. You look at this inning alone. First 2 batters retired, but they're able to find a way to get base runners on base with a couple of infield singles, and then Dodge, one of their top sluggers, able to take care of business. There's a looper into right field that drops down in front of Holt for a base hit. J.C. Holt getting the start in right field. Hannah Miles, by the way, who had started in right field for her first 3 years here at UAB, now the everyday center fielder.
Yeah, Hannah Miles has been a staple in the outfield all 4 years so far, and so, you know, happy to see her get an opportunity in center after she played right alongside Bella Wiggins in center for all those years, and I think she's going to be a fantastic fit there. Big arm, lots of range, very athletic, tracks the ball well, so, you know, happy to see her get that opportunity.
Tate Davidson gets some warm-up tosses in. To tell you what, she was a warrior out there on Wednesday, going basically the equivalent of a complete game regulation game in relief against West Georgia, 7 1/3 against the Wolves. Came on in the third inning and went all the way into the 11th on Wednesday night. Foul ball out of play, and especially after how tough that loss was for UAB. Even though the Blazers are down right now, they've come out with a lot of energy so far today.
Yeah, they sure have. There's nothing to be disappointed in so far. It's one big swing after a couple of infield singles. You know, you can expect them to put up some runs. You weren't going to win with no runs on the board anyway, so UAB just has to do a good job of manufacturing something.
Pitch comes in and it hits the Tennessee batter there as going to first base is Mackenzie Butt on the HBP. So the inning continues now with 2 runners on and 2 down. As we'll have a coaching visit for UAB. Coach Taylor Smart makes her way out to the circle.
Yeah, I think this is just checking on Cummings. She's in the third inning here. They seem to have caught on a little bit to her off speed and mixing it up. And so, you know, there's just a conversation about how to feel like stamina-wise. Athletic trainer Carly White out to talk to Abby Perkins behind the plate. She must have gotten nicked by something, and they're just consulting with her to make sure she's good.
So the first 2 batters were retired, and then you had a couple of infield singles from Sophia Knight and Gabby Leach, followed by Ella Dodge's 3-run blast to right. And also Emma Clark was able to hit a bloop single to right. Now she's at second base after Mackenzie Butt was hit by a pitch. So now this is the 8th batter of the top of the third. Alana Leach, the left fielder, grounded out to Cummings her last time up.
You know, if you're UAB, you're trying to get off the field here. You know, you got to get off the field. You had 2 outs, then a couple of infield singles, then you give up the big fly. You know, now it's time to sort of stop the bleeding, get off the field here with 2 outs.
Hitters count for the Vols left fielder. And there a strike call. Bottom third of UAB's order coming up in the bottom half of the third. For the Vols tomorrow, 1 game, and that's a 7 o'clock local time, 8 o'clock Eastern special against Mercer. And then they'll close out the weekend against Southern Illinois at 11:30 local time. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Alana Leach. Elsa Morrison awaiting in the on-deck circle. Hit foul over the third base dugout.
Good job by Olivia Cummings there. That was out off of the plate, but she had to foul it off. It's probably too close to take. But that's a good pitcher's pitch there ahead, 1 and 2. I love how Olivia Cummings has kept them off balance so far, other than, you know, the obvious big swing and the couple of mistakes with the hit by pitches. She's pitched a really good game.
Another liner foul. Alana Leach, 5'6", a left-handed batter and thrower out of the Woodlands, Texas. A veteran on this Vols roster for 2026. That comes in and hits around the knee or so. Keeps the inning alive, and now Tennessee has batted around here in the third.
Yeah, this one's just going to get away from Olivia Cummings. You're ahead 1 and 2. If you miss inside, you're trying to miss way inside. You don't want to throw something they can hammer with 2 strikes. But at the same time, you got a 2-strike count. You know, so that's going to be a little tough to swallow there. But deep breath, go after the next one.
Back-to-back hit batters for Cummings. 3 in total tonight. Elsa Morrison an opportunity to put a lot of runs on the board as that's hit into left field as Shira puts it away to retire the side. However, Ella Dodge's big 3-run blast gets Tennessee on the board as we go to the bottom of the third inning as we'll see Dodge unwind on the first pitch she sees from Cummings to get the Vols 3 runs and the lead. On the board with that big two-out, 3-run blast at the top half of this inning as we go to the bottom of the third from a packed-out Mary Bowers Field in the Magic City. Hannah Miles, Zaylin Tucker, and J.C. Holt, the trio in the bottom of the order, due up for UAB against the top pitcher in the Southeastern Conference in Carlin Pickens, a 2-time first-team All-SEC over the last 2 years and the SEC's Pitcher of the Year.
And she's pitching like it. 4 of the 6 outs recorded so far by Kays, and you know, it's just a lot of high velocity.
Bouncer and a nice play by Pickens, but the throw goes off the first baseman. Miles advances to second base, and that's not something we've seen too often from Tennessee this year.
Yeah, Hannah Miles is going to take advantage of that every single time. Speedy, aggressive, always looking for the next 60 feet. Pickens, who doesn't throw a lot overhanded, sometimes you worry about that as the coach, you know, but she has time and rushes the throw a bit. It's a little bit wide, probably catchable. Hannah Miles sees it and never checks up.
Yeah, almost like she was a little casual on that throw to first base, went sidearm and glanced off Clark's glove at first. A check swing and a strike call.
Now, I think this is big for UAB for a couple of reasons. One, now you have someone in scoring position. Before you didn't have anybody even sniff first base. But you've shown some life. You've shown a little bit of retaliation after going down 3-0.
Tucker, a late swing and a miss. Zaylin Tucker on Wednesday reached base a couple of times, including a walk and a bunt single against West Georgia. Batting 8th tonight for UAB. Goes down swinging on 3 pitches. 1 down.
Yeah, you know, Coach Smart there was probably a little disappointed he didn't get at least a productive out, even if it is an out.
J.C. Holt getting the start tonight as we'll take a look at that last comebacker, at least off the bat of Hannah Miles, as there's a swing and a miss for Holt. Another newcomer as far as the UAB lineup this year. Holt, a senior. This is her 10th start of the season and 12th game that she's played this year. 1 RBI so far and whiffs through the 0-1. No balls and 2 strikes for Pickens, looking for strikeout number 6. She's gotten at least 1 strikeout so far in every inning. Down and away. So Holt stayed. UAB will turn over their lineup. Set on deck. 2-strike pitch. Swing and a miss. Especially the bottom of the order for UAB, a tough, super tough matchup going against one of the best pitchers in the country.
Yeah, and you have to remember this is their first at bat against Pickens. Dorsett's going to get to see her again here, but you just need to try to touch it. If you can just put it in play, Hannah Miles is going to be aggressive. She's going to go 60 feet for sure.
And one thing Pickens has shown is she's going right at these UAB batters. As back to the top of the order, Hannah Dorsett ahead in the count.
Now, if you're UAB, you know, this is kind of where you want to be. You've got someone that's a low strikeout type hitter at the plate. She's going to put it in play with lots of speed, and you got lots of speed at second base.
Dorsett taps that at home plate, foul. Maddie Rutan leads off for Tennessee once we get to the top of the 4th inning. Dodge's 3-run, 2-out homer, the difference so far tonight. Inside, and Dorsett now ahead in the count, 2 balls and 1 strike. Charlie Bennett on deck if Dorsett can reach base. Blazers would love to try and scratch home a run here in the 3rd. Bounce behind home plate and foul. UAB, their first of 4 games this weekend. Tomorrow for UAB, they'll have a couple of games, beginning with a 2 o'clock first pitch against Southern Illinois, and then right after that against Missouri State. Bounced right back to Pickens, and this time an accurate throw to first base in time. That'll do it for UAB as they strand a runner at second base. No runs, no hits, an error, and 1 left on base as we're through 3. It's Tennessee 3 and UAB nothing. At the ESPN.com top 10 rankings for this week.
Yeah,
and,
the ball's coming in, having played a good many of these already.
And Florida on the schedule in about a month, but you look at SEC flavor, including Arkansas and Alabama, and already Tennessee has beaten Florida State, one of those teams, as far as a top 10 victory on the schedule early on in the first 2+ weeks. New pitcher for UAB, but first off, as we flip over the scorecard, Maddie Rutan leads off in the number 8 spot in the Tennessee order. Ball 1 from Tate Davidson. Tate Davidson, statistically a rough start through the first 2 weeks, but had an outstanding relief appearance against West Georgia on Wednesday, going 7 1/3 innings against the Wolves.
Yeah, really put it all out on the line against West Georgia. The game just kind of kept extending, and she just held in there and had a really good outing despite a little bit of a rough start to the season, but seems to be settling in a bit as a sophomore, and I expected UAB to change pitchers early and often in this game to try to keep Tennessee off balance.
Flared into the glove of Hannah Dorsett as she goes out about 5 feet or so into left center field for out number 1.
Yeah, great job flipping her hips and catching that thing over her head. She's just an athlete. I said it earlier in the broadcast. She can just cover a lot of ground.
And you mentioned on the ground balls, able to get a great first step on that shallow pop-up into left center field, 1 down. Bella Fall to the plate. Tate Davidson, a local product from the Magic City, specifically Vestavia Hills, but of course from the talent-rich Birmingham metro area. Tennessee, one of 3 SEC teams set to visit Mary Bowers Field this season. Mississippi State in about a week and a half, and then Alabama on April 21st. And that comes in and just grazes Bella Fall. And interestingly enough, AJ, as far as that week of April 21st, Alabama comes here to Mary Bowers Field, and then they'll make the trip up to Knoxville for a huge late-season SEC series.
Yeah, that'll be a big series. It always is, but this year it'll be even more. Both teams in the top 10. I believe Alabama's in the top 10 as of this week, so that'll no doubt have a little extra to it this year.
Back to the top of the order as a first pitch contact for Sophia Knight, and that's a foul ball.
You know, I'm a little back and forth on this is the 4th hit by pitch, and you hate to give up free bases, especially to put them on in front of these type of hitters in Tennessee's offense. But you're also being told as a pitcher, if you miss inside, hit them. You can't miss inside over the plate, not against these type hitters.
We already saw what Ella Dodge can do when she's able to extend those hands. And so far, that is the difference in the score. 1-1 on Tennessee's leadoff batter. Now Knight gets ahead in the count. Sophia Knight, her 3rd at bat, the junior out of Huntington Beach, California. A transfer from Boise State University. Reaches out and hits that into left field. Easy play for Shira.
That's a good pitch there by Tate, but that's also not a great pitch selection there from a hitter that I know that Tennessee and Coach Weekly are really counting on, producing this season. So I'm sure she's going to talk to Coach Snyder, the hitting coach over there in the dugout, about that pitch selection.
This is an important batter for Tate Davidson. She does not want to see Ella Dodge with at least a runner aboard, or potentially 2 runners aboard in this inning as a strike.
Good job by Tate getting ahead in the count there.
Leach first, and then singled and scored on Dodge's 3-run homer in the 3rd. Up and away, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Yeah, she sort of had that little tap single on the infield to Hannah Dorsett in her last at bat. Interested to see what she does with Tate. Tate loves to throw the curveball. I wonder if she throws it in to Leach.
Fly ball. Looks routine for Shira, and it is to retire the side. So nothing doing for Tennessee in the 4th inning as UAB hanging in there with the top-ranked Vols, down just 3-0 as we're halfway home in the Magic City. Tonight.
I mean, look at the short sleeves in the stands. It's 8:15 on a February night in Birmingham, Alabama, and we're under the lights in unbelievable weather with the #1 team in the country in town and a fantastic crowd. It just doesn't get any better than that.
Now, thankfully for the Green and Gold Classic, there is supposed to be rain, but overnight tonight. So it looked as if originally that we would have some weather issues for tomorrow, but I think that we'll be just fine tomorrow. Number 2 spot in the order, and the first batter here in the 4th inning for UAB in Charlie Bennett.
Charlie Bennett got jammed up a bit, ground ball to short in her first at bat. See if she can make an adjustment here and get on time.
Going against one of, if not the top pitcher in college softball, as that's hit out of play. Carlin Pickens, we mentioned, of course, 2-time all first team SEC, all SEC. And then pitcher of the year in the SEC last year. USA Softball Collegiate Player of the Year, top 50, 3rd time for this year. A foul ball keeps Bennett alive in the at-bat.
Only giving up an opponent batting average of 114 coming into the start tonight in 24 1/3 innings pitched. Only 9 hits given up in those 24 1/3, so the Blazers have a tall task.
Trying to get a base runner aboard. Called strike 3. So strikeout number 7 on the night for Pickens. Pickens, other than one throwing error in the field defensively, she has been on point throughout. And hits the outside corner there to get the called strikeout. Abby Perkins, a strikeout victim in the 1st inning, as she takes 4-1.
Perkins has been a welcome addition to this roster, a transfer, senior transfer, batting .370. Should be a big part of this offense this season.
Popped up, and that goes out of play. So far, 1 swing of the bat has been the difference from Ella Dodge, and she'll come up to begin the top of the 5th inning. Missouri State gave a similar type of effort earlier today against Tennessee, as the Vols were able to hold off Missouri State 5-0.
Yeah, you know, Coach Weekly's preaching to her team. Had a big weekend last weekend, but it's all about consistency. What can we come back and do again this weekend?
1-1. A strike call, and I imagine that has to be a tough task coaching-wise. You've played basically a who's who of nationally recognized teams in Clearwater, and basically what's the softball equivalent, the Maui Invitational, the first 2 weeks, and the pitch on the way is fouled off.
Yeah, but really good teams. They play against themselves. They have faceless opponents. You know, if you're Coach Weekly, you're talking to your team about, you know, it doesn't matter who it is over there. It doesn't matter who's in the other dugout. We need to improve on the things we noticed didn't go so well last week, and who cares who's in the other dugout?
1-2. Downstairs. 2 balls and 2 strikes. At least through those 2 weeks in Clearwater, it gets them ready certainly for SEC play in May when it comes to an NCAA regional and beyond. We'll go over their SEC schedule after this pitch that's fouled off. They'll start SEC play, AJ, in just a couple of weeks at home up in Knoxville against LSU, and then on the road for 2 consecutive weeks in SEC play at Mississippi State and at Florida, and then also Ole Miss, South Carolina, and Alabama at home, and Kentucky and Missouri also on the road in conference play for the Vols.
Yeah, the SEC schedule is not for the faint of heart. We mentioned being in Clearwater playing the who's who. You just look down that SEC schedule, and it's a gauntlet. It doesn't matter what it looks like.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Or check that, I beg your pardon. 3 balls and 2 strikes as that's upstairs for ball 4. Oh, and throw in a late season midweek game at Duke on April the 13th for Tennessee.
Yeah, why not? Just the 13th walk of the season for Pickens there in now, 27 innings pitched. So a rare occurrence there, especially when you're up by 3. You know, Coach Weekly's that's going to be a talking point with Pickens.
There's a sharp fastball, but that's downstairs to Ashlyn Shira.
And, you know, I wonder with the pitching staff at Tennessee, it's a balance of trying to keep Pickens fresh, but also not letting her get stale. You know, you've got to pitch just enough to stay sharp. Playing the long game, one of the things that tends to bite her like Pickens is you rely on her so much this time of year to get into conference play, and it grinds. She's the Friday, Sunday starter, and you get to the end and they're out of gas.
2 balls and no strikes. A strike call, and you know, AJ, in the Southeastern Conference, you've got to have 2 quality pitchers if you want to be able to compete in that top half of the best conference in the country.
There's no doubt about it, and I've heard a lot of interviews with Tennessee, and they're really priding themselves this year on the depth of their staff.
Hitters count, and that's downstairs. So Pickens a little wobbly over the last couple of batters as Perkins walked, and now Ashlyn Shira 1 pitch away from getting aboard herself. 3-1. Hit the opposite way, and that's a foul ball.
Boy, that was close. That was close.
I would love to see a second look on that, and I imagine Taylor Smart wouldn't mind a second look herself at that bang-bang call down the right field line.
Wow.
I thought for a moment that was going to stay inside that chalk.
I did too.
Shira hit that hard, but just came inches foul.
She did a good job going with that pitch.
Here's the payoff. And they'll appeal, and yes, says the first base umpire, Brian Smith. So we'll take another look at the foul ball a couple of pitches ago. As you see the split screen shot, and this is how close Shira was to getting in scoring position.
Inches.
That's a tough call for the first base umpire, seeing the ball that far away, but still at a good vantage point down the right field line, and made the correct call. Upstairs in the 0-1. So now 2 down. As Carly Wilkins, a strikeout her last time up. So 8 strikeouts for Pickens on the evening. Misses downstairs, 2 balls and 1 strike in a what-if game, AJ. If that ball had stayed fair, Wilkins, at least right now, the best power hitter in the UAB lineup, would have had an opportunity to possibly drive 2 home.
Yeah, you're probably standing at second and third after that.
There's a ground ball, and nice play for Rutan over at third as she'll go the short route to second to close out the bottom of the 4th inning.
Great glove work there by the third base. That ball's hit really hard, sliced off a left-handed bat, so it's got a lot of slice spin coming to her also. So those are good hand-eye coordination, great glove.
And there you see some excellent hands over at the hot corner as we go to the 5th inning with Tennessee on top, 3-0. With top-ranked Tennessee through 4 innings as the Tennessee Volunteers have a 3-0 lead thanks to 1 big swing of the bat from Ella Dodge.
Yeah, a couple of infield singles and then a big swing, and it's changed the complexion of this game.
Dodge leads off the top of the 5th inning. And so far, a positive outing really for both Olivia Cummings, who went 3 full innings for UAB, and Tate Davidson, who has a scoreless inning under her belt. Down and away for ball 1.
you see the respect there for Ella Dodge, starting the at-bat off with an off-speed pitch.
Dodge, the lefty batter out of Bradenton, Florida. And does she get hit by the pitch? I think she did.
They said it hit
question.
the knob.
Okay, that's it. We've seen a lot of 4 hit by pitches so far today. And that's a pretty good look from the third base camera. And I have to say the home plate umpire might actually be correct on that call.
Yeah, Perkins took the bad end of that deflection on the inner thigh, but I think the umpire did get the call right.
That's a tough call as well, as with as many hit batters as there's been tonight for home plate umpire Mark Koras. But he was able to make the correct call of that pitch hitting the bottom of that bat. Karen Weekly not exactly convinced about that call, so she wants some further clarification from all 3 of our umpires. I'm not sure if this is exactly a reviewable call for our umpires, as we'll take a third look. Now, you don't see any sort of pain expression for Ella Dodge, so that might suggest to us on a third look, AJ, that did go off the knob of the bat.
I think it did, and she indicated as much. She initially, right after the ball hits the knob, she taps the end of the knob, the end of her bat, indicating that that's what it got.
Dodge, a lot of experience as a freshman last year for Tennessee, as she played in 56 games and started 49, a part of the ball squad last year that made it deep in Oklahoma City.
Looks like they are going to take a look at it.
So they will go and take a second look. Will our umpires, our 3-man umpiring crew tonight of Mark Koras, Brian Smith, and Sergio Villarreal, as they want to make absolutely sure. And of course, they have to have indisputable evidence to overturn the call on the field. So we'll roll the footage. Pitch comes inside. And I don't know if they're going to get necessarily a pinpoint look that's going to tell them whether Dodge got hit or whether it was off the knob of the bat. So Tennessee would like to get a base runner aboard at first. Nothing to lose for Coach Karen Weekly to ask the umpires, hey, see if you can go review this call and try and get a leadoff base runner aboard as we get into the later innings of the game.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. You're trying to get your lead off on, have a big inning here, try to crack it open, but I don't think you're going to get this an overturn.
Yeah, I don't see enough evidence to overturn, but what do I know? We'll see what happens here in a little bit, depending on how long it takes for our trio of umpires to come to a decision.
You know, so far you got to be pretty pleased if you're UAB. It's 3-0 in the top of the 5th against the #1 team in the country. Other than the big fly after a couple of infield singles, I mean, you've had a couple flyouts to the outfield, but there really haven't been a lot of balls squared up. Other than the home run, I can't think of a ball that's been squared up, and we bragged so hard on the offensive production of this team down in Clearwater with all the runs they put up, all season. You know, if you're Coach Smart and the staff here at UAB, you've got to be pretty pleased to be in striking distance in the 5th inning.
Yeah, I was just thinking exactly, if you're Coach Smart, if you're the UAB dugout, considering the chances they had to win on Wednesday and really the disappointing effort overall, that this is, regardless of how the score ends out at the very end, that it's a step forward for this team.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that, and I think you'll continue to see over the night. You saw Olivia Cummings until they sort of kind of timed her up, got a little pattern going on her. Now you've got Tate Davidson out there so far, been able to keep them off balance. They're not squaring her up, but I think it's going to be a short leash for all the UAB pitchers tonight.
And a verdict has been reached as Brian Smith and Mark Koras come out of the replay booth. there has to be indisputable evidence to overturn the call on the field. And no indication given as of yet by our men in blue. So our umpire's about to make the call on the field. And so it will stand as called on the field, just not enough evidence to overturn the call on replay. So 2 balls and no strikes as Ella Dodge gets an extended break and will come back for her 3rd at bat of the game. Olivia Cummings got a strikeout on her in the 1st inning, and then on that first pitch of the 3rd gave up what so far has been the game-deciding long ball.
So we'll have a strike on the board after the foul ball if it went off the knob.
That's right. Davidson comes home.
Now wait a minute, the umpire signaled 2-0, which would indicate that he thought she was hit by the pitch, but that she was in the batter's box and had, didn't try to, maybe intentionally in their mind stayed in there to get hit by the pitch, and so he kept her in the box. Otherwise, he would have had a strike.
Basically didn't do enough to sufficiently get out of the way of the pitch.
That's my only guess, or we would have had a strike after the ball off the knob. So
a lot of subtle moving parts in that. 3-1. Outside for ball 4. You don't exactly see that every day.
No, sir.
A ball go off the knob of the bat, we think.
Yeah, they must have thought it hit her on the hand and then the knob, but they weren't willing to award her first base. Maybe they thought her hand was, outside of the batter's box. She didn't make enough attempt to get out of the way. Either way, they did not call it off the knob initially, or we would have been, the Blazers would have been awarded a strike.
So at the plate is Emma Clark as we take another look as far as Ella Dodge's, at least the pitch that sent the umpires to the replay booth. As the count now with no balls and 1 strike to Clark. She's reached base in the 3rd inning on a bloop single to right. And now falls behind, no balls and 2 strikes. Also grounded out to Wilkins to end the 1st inning.
That's a positive sign there from Tate Davidson. You're ahead 0-1, throw an off-speed pitch for a strike. Now you're ahead 0-2, and they have to honor the off-speed. So this is where you get them off balance.
Ground ball off the end of the bat, that's foul. A 3-0 lead for the Tennessee Volunteers. 3 runs on 4 hits with just 1 error as they've left 5 runners on base. UAB, no runs on no hits, no errors, and they've left a couple of runners aboard. Upstairs on the rise ball.
That's not a bad miss. If you're Coach Smart and staff, you're probably wanting something a little bit more competitive. Hopefully she swings at it. If it's down, another 6 inches down in the zone, she may chase that. Up and away like that, sometimes you don't get as much interaction, engagement.
1-2 bounces in there. Nicely done to block it by Perkins. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. So after this weekend for Tennessee, they'll have the next couple of weeks, thankfully for them at home, after being on the road, including this weekend for the first 3 weekends. Short fly ball as Shira races in to make the catch.
That's a good pitch. That's a good 2-strike curveball for Tate. It's off the plate enough that the hitter's a little impatient, tries to pull it. You get the weak fly ball to left field. That was a pretty good at bat if you're Tate Davidson. You got ahead in the count, you showed your off speed for a strike, and then you were able to go to your bread and butter, the curveball off the plate in a pitcher's pitch.
1 down as Mackenzie Butt, the designated player, grounded out to Hannah Dorsett at short to begin the 2nd, and then hit by a pitch in the 3rd. Breaking ball downstairs. Tennessee will have a 9-game homestand beginning on Friday of next week. And then their next trip after the homestand away from home will be a midweek game in Columbia, Tennessee against Austin Peay on March the 10th.
Now something to keep an eye on here, James, will be the runner, Ella Dodge, at first base. She has the 2nd most stolen bases in this lineup. So I'll be curious to see if Coach Weekly puts her in motion at some point with Tate showing her off speed as much as she has been.
Mackenzie Butt homered against Missouri State earlier tonight. Runner goes, throw on the money and in time. A one-hop throw, but Perkins able to get it right in position for Dorsett to apply the tag on Dodge for the out.
Yeah, the right-handed hitter with the left-handed catcher didn't matter much there. She was beat badly by that throw from Perkins. A good pitch.
Nice job by Hannah Dorsett to field the short hop. And there's at least the assist from Perkins, the catcher, to get out.
Good pitch to handle. Phenomenal sequence right there.
2-6 on the caught stealing as Dodge retired. So 2 down is now Davidson, 1 pitch away from at least what would be a 1-2-3 inning despite the leadoff walk. Davidson comes home and short hops in front of home plate.
That's okay. When you throw the off speed like she tried to do there, you're ahead in the count. You want to miss down. If you miss, you want to miss down. I heard a pitching coach say one time, pitchers are only as good as their misses, and that's a good example of a good miss right there.
Mackenzie Butt out of Garden Grove, California, sends this one over to Flamia as she throws across the diamond in time, and that'll do it for Tennessee here in the 5th inning. Nothing doing for the Vols as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Tennessee maintains a 3-0 advantage. Things through here in Birmingham, UAB and Tennessee as we take a look at the preseason American Conference poll as UAB picked to finish 8th ahead of UTSA and Memphis, and FAU with 8 of the 10 first place votes. South Florida with a couple of first place votes as Tennessee has also played FAU and got an 8-0 win in 6 innings. In one of those games down in Clearwater on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, the American is getting better and better every single year, and you can see a good group of teams right there.
Hit pretty well into left field as that sends Leach to the warning track for out number 1. Flamia, beg your pardon, nearly got UAB on the board with 1 swing at the bat.
Yeah, she was aggressive early in the count, got a pitch she liked, just didn't quite get enough of it.
We'll take another look as Flamia nearly gets UAB their first homer of the season.
Hey, get them back, stay through it.
Leach was able to make that grab just shy of the wall. Alana Leach with the catch in left field is now to the number 7 batter in the order, the second of the inning for Hannah Miles, the Tuscaloosa native. A 4-year starter for the green and gold. Bounces play by Rutan over at third as she throws across the diamond in time. Still no hits allowed for Pickett so far through nearly 5 full innings of work. It appears we've got a pinch hitter for UAB coming up in the spot for Zaylin Tucker. It looks as if that is Bria Allen that's grabbed a bat, the Phoenix City, Alabama native, to pinch hit for UAB.
Bria, strong hitter. Always had a knack for finding the barrel, and in the recruiting process, that's what jumped out to us. A great kid, an in-state kid. Happy to see her get an opportunity here. If she can get her on time, get her foot down on time, and she can really hit the ball hard.
Allen, a pinch hit single earlier this week against West Georgia. A little bit late on that swing and fouls it off. No balls and 1 strike. So Allen has had a start so far early this season for UAB. Big rip and a miss.
Stay through it.
Allen, her 5th game appeared in this year. 2 for 5 so far in limited at bats with an RBI.
You got it, kid.
Foul ball over to the first base side. Watch out over there in the first base dugout.
Yeah, launching missiles over there in the UAB dugout. You see them spread.
A packed house here at Mary Bowers Field. Capacity around 1,000. at the home for UAB softball. A swing and a miss, and that'll do it for UAB in the 5th. Nothing doing for the Blazers as we're through 5. It's still Tennessee 3 and UAB nothing. And the top-ranked tier, some high-quality college softball, especially from one of the top teams, not only in the SEC, but in the country. I imagine with the schedule, the wins they've already piled up against top 25 and top 10 competition as a bunt laid down by Alana Leach goes foul. That already, you wouldn't think as far as just 2 weeks through the season, AJ, even for an SEC team, about thinking, hey, how is our resume going to look for May? But already with the wins they've gotten, they're already laying the groundwork as far as presenting the selection committee, hey, if we do what we need to do in conference play, especially in March, April, and May, we should get one of those top national seeds.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. These coaches calibrate schedules, especially non-conference, what they can control, and it's all designed for the postseason resume. And Tennessee has come out and really come out with flying colors so far.
Soft liner right to Flamia, 1 down. We'll take another look at that soft line drive as Tate Davidson, a quality outing in relief.
No doubt about it. This pitch is off the plate. Probably a bad pitch selection, but fooled her. Soft liner right to Flame, and your first out of the inning. Always good to get that first out.
Elsa Morrison, the catcher, 0 for 2 with a ground out to short and a fly out to left. Gets ahead in the count, 1 ball and no strikes. And so far, 2+ scoreless innings for Tate Davidson. Another quality relief outing for her. A strike call, evens the count at 1-1.
Good to see Tate settle in. I've kept up with the season so far, and like I mentioned earlier, had a little bit of a rocky start. But man, you know, she pitched pretty well in the midweek, and then today against the #1 team in the country has done a really good job.
That's smacked foul and out of play.
She's mixing it up. She's inside and outside. Her changeup or her off-speed has been for a strike a good bit tonight, and the time she has missed with it, she has missed down in the zone, and that's a big deal too. We talked about, you know, being only as good as your misses, so she's got to be proud of this outing.
1-2, lined and fair just inside the left field line. Shira able to hustle over. She'll keep Morrison to a single.
Now that was just a good piece of hitting. I'm pretty sure that was off speed as well, but if we see a replay of that one, you're going to see that one was left up in the zone a bit. We talked about missing down with that pitch. This pitch was elevated a little too much. She's able to wrap the barrel around it over the third baseman's head, sneaks it inside the foul line in left field for a base hit. That's the difference in a good miss and a good pitch. When you elevate that changeup, good hitters are going to have a good swing on it.
Just over Flamia's glove down the third baseline. As it appears we'll have a pinch runner come in, our first pinch runner of the night for Tennessee. And that is McCall Sims, the freshman, that gets the call over at first base. So that other than the relief pitcher, as far as Tate Davidson for UAB, that's the first substitution involving a position player of any sort for either team tonight. Maddie Rutan, the third baseman. A ground out to short and a pop-up to shallow left center field that was caught by the shortstop, Dorsett. 1 ball and no strikes on the Vols. Does Rutan out of Columbus, Indiana. The ASUN Pitcher of the Year in 2024. Also ASUN Freshman of the Year and first team All-ASUN as she gets ahead in the count, 3 balls and no strikes.
Yeah, Tate just sort of nibbling there, trying to paint the corner. I'm kind of interested. McCall Sims in the game as the pinch runner at first base. She has no stolen base attempts this year, but we've seen Coach Weekly. She's getting a little antsy, seems like. You're only leading 3-0, and that's off of a big swing. You're not exactly pounding the ball around the yard. UAB's playing good defense, and so, you know, as a coach, sometimes you get a bit impatient. I'll be curious to see if she challenges Perkins again with a stolen base attempt here with a right-handed hitter up, with a left-handed catcher. You know, sometimes you convince yourself that gives you an advantage, so we'll see.
3-0, strike call.
And as a coach, you know, you may not call a hit and run, but in a hitter's count, in a 3-1 count, if you think this is a contact-type kid, it's a de facto hit and run if you put them in motion here.
Still a hitter's count for Rutan. Hits this one down the right field line. A long run for Bennett and Holt as that drops foul. And you mentioned as far as the defense from UAB, they had 4 errors on Wednesday night, and so far a goose egg on the board in the errors column.
They've really cleaned it up, and that's what it takes against teams like this, to hang around and have a chance. And 3 runs is a big deal against Perkins, but it's not unsurmountable. And so you've not let it get out of hand. It's late in the game. You just got to hang in there defensively, have a couple things go your way in the bottom of the inning.
Payoff. Popped up. Right side as Bennett, an easy play for out number 2. Nice job that time of battling back from a 3-0 hole for Tate Davidson as she was able to get in on the hands of Tennessee's third baseman and get the second out.
I agree, and you really need to put this inning to bed here. You're at the 9 hole. You don't want to turn it back over to the top, who's done a good job and has already seen you once tonight.
Let's just see if we'll have another substitution come in for Tennessee, and we do. A pinch hitter in Meredith Barnhart out of Parker, Ohio, a freshman getting an opportunity early in the season. Has a runner at first base, 2 down now for Tennessee, and takes a strike call.
No hits and 9 at-bats so far this season, but you got to love Coach Weekly giving them an opportunity in a game that's still very much competitive, getting an opportunity on the road here tonight for the freshman.
For someone like Barnhart, it's an opportunity to show what she has as she hits this to Shira along the left field line as Shira makes the grab. Another solid inning for Tate Davidson as she holds Tennessee off the board. 3 scoreless innings for Davidson. As we go to the bottom of the 6th inning, it's still Tennessee 3 and UAB nothing. Night here at Mary Bowers Field, a packed house for what's been a showcase night for the UAB softball program, with top-ranked Tennessee in town for the weekend.
Yeah, the defensive pitching have held up their ends, and now if you're UAB and you're Coach Smart, you just need a base runner. You've got to get a spark. You've got to get something going. Then you'll take it however you get it, error or walk, hit by pitch. But Blazers have to get something going this inning, turn it back over to the top of their order, and hope to do some damage here to answer the 3-run lead.
Ashlyn Shira came inches shy in the 4th inning of having what could have been a 1-out double as a bunt attempt off to the left side, and nice play by the second baseman as J.C. Holt nearly was able to get aboard at first base. That was some nifty footwork by Dodge as she had to come over from her second base spot and somehow able to touch the bag at first.
I love that idea there. You're going to see, I think the second baseman is a tad late getting to the bag, and that's what caused the throw to be up a little bit.
We've seen Dodge's bat, and we saw her athleticism that time, as that was a tough throw to field down with Holt bearing down on her. Hannah Dorsett fouls it off. So that's a 5-4 put out of Holt for the first out of the inning, as Hannah Dorsett in search of her first time on base, a strikeout and a ground out to Pickens. Chops at that 0-1 and misses. Hannah Dorsett, Trussville, Alabama native, of course a part of a tradition of excellence when it comes to her family in the softball diamond. A swing and a miss. The pitch dropped initially, no worries though on the putout, 2 down. So quickly 2 down as Pickens continues to streak of at least 1 strikeout every inning. 2 in the first, 2 in the second, 2 in the third, and also the fourth. And then the last couple of innings, 1 in the fifth, and so far 1 here in the sixth. Charlie Bennett, a ground out and a strikeout. Lays off the rise ball.
Yeah, Pickens has lived up to the billing. She's had a strikeout, at least 1 in every inning. Only the only hiccup in that has been the walk there in the fourth.
1 ball and no strikes, and also throw an error in for good measure. Swing and a miss. So 10 total strikeouts for Tennessee's Carlin Pickens. Back-to-back first-team All-SEC selections in 24 and 25. Along with SEC Pitcher of the Year and top 50 players in college softball.
I think she's arguably the best pitcher in college softball this year.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Pickens looking for strikeout number 11. Grounder and foul. And if Tennessee's going to not only get to Oklahoma City, but compete for a national championship, Carlin Pickens will be a big reason why.
She will be a huge part of it, and the depth of that staff to keep her fresh will be a huge part of it.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Upstairs.
Nice job by Bennett there laying off. You got someone throwing straight gasoline, and she goes up in the zone, and you have the discipline not to chase it.
2-2. Pitch. Inside. And when you look at Tennessee, probably some measuring stick games as far as how well they can do in May and June. LSU could be one of those, but certainly at Florida in late March, and then at home against Alabama toward the end of the season.
Good job. Good job. She spoiled a good pitcher's pitch there. She knew she couldn't do much with it, just kind of waves the bat out there, fouls it off. That's a good job, and really impressive for a true freshman.
Charlie Bennett, the second baseman. Just her 12th game in a UAB uniform. Payoff. Bouncer. A convenient hop for Rutan. Throws over and in time to retire the side. Nothing doing for UAB as we go to the 7th inning with Tennessee on top, 3-0. Seen a lot of wins so far tonight as that American flag has remained limp so far throughout this Friday night in the Magic City. James Hardy, AJ Doherty with you, and our ESPN crew from Mary Bowers Field on the campus of UAB. The Blazers and the top-ranked Vols at the University of Tennessee on day 1 of 3 of the Green and Gold Classic for 2026. Tennessee will have the top third of their order due up, and at least a minor accomplishment for UAB. Ended in run rule victories for Tennessee. Regardless of how many runs Tennessee scores in this inning, UAB will not officially be run rule tonight.
That's true, and I'll say this, I'm really interested in this inning to see the last time the lineup saw Olivia Cummings for the second time is when they had success.
Nice play over at shortstop for Dorsett, but just too far in the 5-6 hole to try and get Sophia Knight out at first. We'll take another look at that slap bouncer from Knight. As she was able to place that ground ball very well. And there you see just too far, and not a bad throw, bad play overall for Dorsett to make it even a reasonably close play over at first base. In fact, close enough, they're going to get a second look at this.
Yeah, the high hop is what gets you. Nice handle on that. You see she kind of mishandles it a bit out of the glove, but is able to recover and throw it across and make it very competitive. I'll be interested to see this look here. But I think they may have gotten it right.
Yeah, there you see also, I think for the first time this season at Mary Bowers Field, you see that safety base on the right-hand side of the first base line. The bag in green. As we'll take another look from the first base camera.
this will be a good angle.
Dorsett made it actually a little bit closer than I had initially thought when we took our first replay look. And look at that foot for Knight on the green safety bag. And she does get in there, but a little closer than maybe I had expected, AJ.
Yeah, I think the difference in that play is just not getting it clean from the glove, the transition from the glove to the hand. And so I think we're going to see this one uphill.
A decision has been made as our umpires make their way out of the replay booth. Taking their time, as I imagine this call should be upheld. And indeed, the call confirmed on replay.
Yeah, nice effort there. Just out of the reach of Flame at third base. If she catches that, her momentum is going toward first. It's probably an easy out, but Dorsett having to range to her right, her throwing hand side, then the little bit of a mix-up on the transition is probably the difference in that play.
And then, yeah, you throw in that hop that kind of forced the transition issues, and there just wasn't that much that Dorsett could really do. Leach bounces this one over to Flamey as she goes to the shortstop covering second base. A rare 5-6 put out, one down. So a fielder's choice for Gabby Leach as she's now aboard at first base as Sophia Knight will become the first out of this top of the seventh inning. Ella Dodge a chance to add to her numbers. A couple of home runs through 2 games tonight, including a 3-run shot back in the third. Strike call to her. She struck out, homered, and walked. We're in the top of the seventh inning, and UAB has hung in there all throughout tonight. Ball one, throw down on the money in time.
That is a strike. That is a heck of an arm. Lots of arm strength there. She didn't even transition this clean. And you'll see on this second look here, she had a little issue getting it out of the glove, and then still able to throw the strike.
I mean,
it's going to be close. If they're going to review this, she may have snuck her left hand in. Her left hand's going to be closer, I think, than we saw in real time. But I'm not sure they didn't get it right.
I mean, AJ, it was like Perkins just snapped that throw over to second base like a Dan Marino release on the football field back in the day.
Yeah, very impressive, especially knowing it wasn't completely clean and a smooth transition. She still has a very competitive throw. Out was the call on the field. I think we're going to take a look and see if her left hand snuck in under the tag here.
Well, that would be the second base runner that Perkins has thrown out tonight, as they will indeed go back to the replay booth for another look. So you have our 2 of 3 umpires, Mark Koras and Brian Smith. They'll go into their secret lair to take a look at this last play.
So this is going to be all about the left hand.
Has to be indisputable evidence to overturn the call on the field. Right on the money. Here's the tag. Looks like the tag on the shoulder. And at least for Brian Smith, he was right there on the play in position to see the tag.
Yeah, he had a great view of it. You know, when you're Coach Weekly and you're asking for a review of this play, you're going to go ahead and ask for what they call all aspects. You want them to review all aspects. Look for obstruction and see if the tag was in time. I don't see obstruction.
Yeah, not even close to obstruction there. You're not necessarily going to get the best look as far as that lead arm into second from the first base camera. Maybe from here.
I think she got her. And you said it earlier, the umpire's right on top of it.
Plus, factor in, they have to have indisputable evidence to overturn the call on the field.
And I'm not sure it's there.
And that's the question for our umpires. If there isn't indisputable evidence in their mind, then the call's going to stand. Perkins did what she needed to do to get UAB their second out of the inning, and let's find out if the umpires agree with that. A verdict has been reached. Umpires have been pretty busy going to the monitor tonight.
They have. How cool is it in our sport? We've gotten to this point now. Softball's in the golden era of our sport.
I could not agree more with that statement. Here's the call in the field, and it is confirmed. And I think, AJ, you mentioned that point. I think with where it's gotten as far as the popularity, the resources, and for the WCWS television ratings, especially over the last 5 years, I think that is a fact to say that college softball, especially D1 college softball, is at its golden age.
And I'm so proud of it. So many people worked so hard to get it here.
1-1. A strike call. And Karen Weekly over in the third base dugout would be one of those.
Has been no small part of that. That is indeed true. She is a pioneer of this sport and has done it in a first-class manner for a long time.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Upstairs. A showcase night for the UAB softball program, hosting the top-ranked Tennessee Volunteers. The first game of the weekend for UAB, second game of the weekend for Tennessee. Also, the Green and Gold Classic this weekend. And Southern Illinois on the weekend schedule. Also, UAB plays Missouri State tomorrow. Payoff. Upstairs. And a little confusion down on the field, but sorted out as that is officially ball 4.
Yeah, after you get the delay, sometimes we tend to lose track, in our minds of where we are in the count, and including the hitter. You have the long delay after Perkins erases another base runner at second base and just sort of lose track.
Part of a long 56-game season for these teams. And remember, it's just the third weekend of the season, so a long ways to go for everyone when it comes to the 2026 campaign.
I believe we have a pinch hitter here.
We'll take a look, and it is indeed a pinch hitter for the Vols. Taylon Holly grabs the bat, the freshman, sends that back to the screen. So comes in to pinch hit for Emma Clark. A good opportunity for Coach Weekly to get some of those players that, especially once they get into the teeth of their SEC schedule, that may not necessarily see everyday playing time.
No doubt.
Pitch down and away. Holly, a freshman outfielder, 5'6", out of Murrieta, California. Another California product on the Vols roster as the pitch upstairs. And of course, historically with Tennessee athletics, athletic program overall that recruits nationally. Of course, done that with their football program for the longest of times. And you look at the softball, just the softball roster this year, and of course that national recruiting focus, a part of this Tennessee softball program.
Yeah, it's a national brand. You look at the success of their baseball team, the success of their softball team, and how consistent they've been having that success in softball, and then obviously the history and tradition of their football program.
Hitters count. Holly looking to get some production in the box score for tonight as she gets ahead in the count further. 3 balls and 1 strike. 2 down. Looking ahead to the UAB 7th, they'll have Perkins, Shira, and Wilkins due up. 3-1. Upstairs, ball 4. Back-to-back walks for the Vols, puts runners at first and second with 2 down. Mandy Jordan comes out of the dugout, and she'll have a powwow with Tate Davidson. A good night so far for UAB, despite being on the short end of the stick and not really having any meaningful offensive production, just even in spite of a couple of base runners. But still, a lot of positives to take from tonight, regardless of the score for Taylor Smart.
There's no doubt about it. You have played 6 innings against the #1 team in the country, a high-powered offense, possibly the best pitcher in the country, and if you delete one swing, it's a 0-0 ball game. And so you've got to be proud of that. You've got to be proud of it.
And now Tennessee trying to add some insurance late in regulation. McKenzie, but a hit by pitch and a pair of groundouts.
2 different arms, Olivia Cummings and now Tate Davidson. You know, they've just not squared a lot of balls up, and that's impressive. That's making good pitches, keeping them off balance.
1 ball, no strikes. That's launched into left field and out of here.
And no sooner do I say it.
Almost right on cue there, AJ.
Yeah.
McKenzie, but also her second homer of the Green and Gold Classic, as that'll double the lead for Tennessee, now up 6-0. And the common theme with those homers, 3-run homers with 2 outs.
Yeah, a couple of infield singles led to the last one, a couple of walks with 2 outs lead to this one, and she got every bit of this to left field. Pitch is left up and elevated over the plate, and she doesn't miss it.
Yeah, unloads on Tate Davidson, as there you see it go right into the Mary Bowers Field left field parking lot. So 2 homers so far today, 1 against UAB and 1 against Missouri State for both Dodge and Butt. So they'll be sleeping well, I imagine, at the team hotel later tonight, as will the rest of their teammates after what appears to be the Vols on track for a couple of wins today in the Green and Gold Classic. Alana Leach hits that foul to make it 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Love this from Tate Davidson. You give up the big fly, you come right back and get ahead in the count.
Well, I think one thing positive we can take even just from tonight is that it appears that Taylor Smart's Blazers are going to have some depth in the circle, especially once they get into American Conference play.
Yeah, and that's going to be key. The Blazers aren't blessed with that big, dominant arm, and so you're going to have that depth. You're going to have matchup options. This team doesn't do as well against this. This team doesn't do as well against that. And then options that complement each other, and I think you're starting to find those.
Reached out and poked into left as Shira almost able to come up with a web jib. Trickles toward the fencing in left field to protect the bullpen as the inning continues. Alana Leach with a 2-out double.
That's a great effort from Shira. She's going to go to her right, and she's going to have to dive and cross her body with her glove, and almost makes this catch. Able to recover, get up, hold it to just a double, but outstanding effort on a very tough ball.
So the inning continues for Tennessee as they've had all of their run scoring come with 2 outs. Off-speed strike from Tate Davidson. Elsa Morrison back up to the plate. Was pinch hit for by McCall, or pinch run for, I should say, by McCall Sims, but later re-entered. 1 ball and 1 strike. For Tennessee, just 1 game tomorrow as they'll take on Mercer at 7 o'clock local time here at Mary Bowers Field. And then UAB will have the 2 games prior to that tomorrow, scheduled for 2 o'clock against Southern Illinois for UAB, and then right after that, around 4:30 against Missouri State. This is the only meeting between these 2 teams this weekend. Bouncer nicely played by Bennett. She'll flip over on the shovel pass to Wilkins to retire the side. However, damage done. 3-run bomb by McKenzie Butt as Tennessee the 7th inning, and we'll take one more look at that moonshot by McKenzie Butt into the left field stands, into the Magic City night as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning for Mary Bowers Field. their 12th victory of the season in as many outings, but they're 3 outs away from getting Carlin Pickens a no-hitter on this Friday night.
Yeah, Pickens has done a great job, as advertised, throwing with high velocity, pounding the strike zone. She's been impressive.
In front of a packed house here at Mary Bowers Field. A swing and a miss for a strike. And kind of at least a good dress rehearsal for Tennessee when it comes to the type of atmospheres that they will play in SEC play in just a few weeks. Off the end of the bat and goes out of play.
You know, I got to give this UAB team credit. Coach Smart told me in the pregame that her exact quote to me was, "We have absolutely nothing to lose. We have the #1 team at Mary Bowers on a Friday night. What more could you want?"
Nothing more needs to be said.
And I would say that's exactly how they've played. They've let it all loose, played solid defensively, gotten decent pitching outings. You and I were talking in the break. 8 hits for Tennessee. 2 of them clearly squared up, went out of the yard. 1 of them, the slicer down the left field line that got away from Shira. Other than that, nothing really squared up.
And there's the first hit of the ball game as Abby Perkins able to square up on the rise ball and send it into left field.
No hitter tonight.
That indeed, in fact, I got a note prior to the top of the 7th inning, as we'll take first off a second look at UAB's first hit, and solid rope into left field by Abby Perkins. So the last time UAB had been no hit was that 5-inning 9-0 loss at Auburn on April the 9th, 2024 in a 7-inning ball game. You have to go back to February 22nd and 20, 6 years ago against Oklahoma State in a 3-0 loss. So those streaks will continue for UAB as a strike call. No balls and 1 strike. Ashlyn Shira nearly was able to pull off a double in the 4th inning. Ended up striking out in that at bat. Grounds this one inside the bag over at first. Going from first to third and sliding in is Perkins. So now check that. Kylie Collette, I beg your pardon, checked in, slipped in there as the pinch runner for UAB, and now the Blazers showing a little bit of life offensively here in the 7th.
Yeah, I think what you've got here is UAB, I have nothing to lose. Perkins maybe getting a little comfortable here in the 7th inning, but you see Collette go first to third here on the slicer right down the line. Good effort by the first baseman, just hugged the line. Easy first to third for Collette. Blazers have something cooking here in the bottom of the 7th.
Nobody down, and if Tennessee hadn't had even one of those 2 home run balls, things might be a little interesting at this point of the game.
Very interesting. You wouldn't be quite as loose down in the dugout full of orange.
You might have a little change as far as strategy in the 7th inning, but hey, that's the benefit for Tennessee of having a 6-run cushion with 3 outs to go. Carly Wilkins, 0 for 2. RBI opportunity for her. First pitch swings and fouls it off.
You know, one of the things Coach Smart said coming into this game was she felt like her team was taking too many pitches and getting behind in the count without taking swings. And we've seen early in 2 at-bats there, we're 2 for 2 with 2 hits here in the bottom of the 7th.
0-1 is swung on and missed, and I'll be interested just this weekend to see how UAB responds as far as trying to continue that approach, even just this weekend over the rest of the games this weekend. Pitch downstairs. The Blazers with 2 tomorrow against Missouri State and Southern Illinois. And then they close out the weekend Sunday afternoon at 4:30 against Mercer. Popped up and out of play.
I look for Perkins to keep climbing the ladder here on Wilkins. She got her to chase for strike 2. That pitch was up, not elevated quite as much as Perkins wanted it to be. But I think you'll see, Pickens, sorry, not Perkins. Pickens wanted it to be. but she's seen that Carly has a flavor for the up pitch, and when you throw it with the velocity she has, that's an immediate, out type pitch. So I'd be surprised if we don't see her go back to that at some point here to try to punch her out.
Foul ball as Wilkins hangs in there. A 1-2 count as she's fouled off now 3 consecutive pitches from Pickens.
Yeah, she spoiled a pretty good pitch there on the inner half from Pickens, but again, I'd like to see, I think we may see her climb the ladder again here at some point.
1-2, and that's sent back our way.
And I think that was supposed to be it for a 2-strike pitch. She probably wanted that one a bit more elevated. So that's twice with 2 strikes. She's tried to elevate, got it up in the zone, but not enough that Wilkins couldn't get a piece of it at least and continue the at-bat.
UAB threatening to get on the board here in the 7th. Lays off the rise ball.
Good
You've
job.
been waiting for that, AJ.
Good job. There it was. So she elevated it finally where she wanted to for 1-2 pitch. And Wilkins was disciplined enough to lay off of it.
Alpha sit. 2-2. Swing and a miss. A little indecisive as to whether to swing at that pitch, but with 2 strikes, Wilkins really had no other options.
Yeah, I think she may have thought she was going back up and got surprised by it right down the middle at the knees. But with that type of velocity, any hesitation and the pitch is just about done for her.
Madeline Flamia to the plate. A strikeout and a fly out to left. A strike call right down the middle on the fastball. You could hear that fastball popping in Morrison's mid at home plate. Blazers trying to get on the board. That's hit foul down the third base line. A job well done by all of our ESPN crew today. Also a busy day as far as our crew. UAB baseball also had their second of 4 games against Cincinnati earlier this afternoon. So a busy day as far as the Diamond Sports baseball, ball and softball for UAB on this Friday, and this throughout the weekend. A foul ball continues the at-bat for Flamia.
A couple of alums I want to shout out in the house. Leah Kirby sitting in the center section here in the bleachers just below the press box, and then down the line I saw a social media post that Lindsey Smith, we were talking about her earlier, is in the house.
Pitches popped up and out of play. Of course, a couple of fine UAB alums. Leah Kirby, a pitcher for you, AJ, just a couple of years ago. And then, of course, Lindsey Smith, All-American Conference third baseman. Blazers, speaking of as far as conference play, like Tennessee and the SEC, just a couple of weeks away from UAB beginning American Conference play here in Birmingham. And there you go. Catch downstairs. I think that was a look at Lindsey Smith, if I'm correct. There you go.
Good to see that smiling face again. I can't think of anyone better down there.
Tell you what, Miss Automatic as far as the defense over at third.
No doubt.
1-2. Downstairs.
And I know Lindsey, and I know she absolutely loved that camera shot being on her. That's complete sarcasm, by the way.
North Texas coming up for UAB as far as the American Conference opener in a couple of weeks. 2-2. Bouncer could be 2. Dodge over to the back for 1, and the throw not in time as the Blazers get on the board. An RBI fielder's choice for Flamia, as that allows UAB to avoid the shutouts.
Yeah, this chopper's just going to kind of sneak past Pickens in the middle, and it's going to be just deep enough and just choppy enough to take too much time to turn 2, and the Blazers do scratch a run across here in the bottom of the 7th.
So Fall was able to get the receiving end of the 4-6 putout. So now the Blazers down to their final out as Kylie Collette was able to score from third on the play. So Ashlyn Shira retired on a 4-6 putout, 2 down. Hannah Miles so far 0 for 2. Late swing and a miss as the count evens at 1 ball. and 1 strike. That's not bad for UAB, considering that teams like BYU, Boston College, Oregon, James Madison, and UCLA have all been shut out by Missouri State tonight.
Yeah, you're in pretty good company when you're scratching. And most impressively against Pickens.
Yes.
You're not getting someone down in the staff, some of the depth. You're going against the best pitcher in the country.
There are going to be SEC teams that do not score against Pickens this year. A foul ball back our way, and that's considering that the SEC now, as you well know, regularly gets 12, 13, 14 teams in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, by my count, that is just the 5th run to score against Tennessee this season.
Bouncer over to the left side. The throw across for Rutan is in time, and that'll do it for tonight's ball game as the Tennessee Volunteers remain perfect on the season with a 6-1 win, and they do so with 2 long balls. But really, AJ, your final thoughts as the final score really does not indicate how much UAB battled with the top-ranked team in the country.
No, this was an impressive fight put up by the UAB Blazers after a disappointing midweek. You host the #1 team in the country, arguably the best pitcher in the country, play solid defense, get pretty good pitching, couple of big swings in there, but pretty good pitching overall. And your catcher erases 2 at second base, trying to steal the bag. I think there's a lot of positives to take away from this for Coach Smart, despite it being a loss, especially after bouncing back after what you got in the midweek.
UAB falls to 5-7 overall. Tennessee improves to 12-0. So for AJ Doherty and our ESPN crew, James Hardy wishing you a happy Friday night from Mary Bowers Field, where again the Tennessee Volunteers defeat UAB 6-1. All games airing in the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.